All righty. We are technically live. But it takes a minute to hit the interwebs. Just getting everything sent out. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Brad's YouTube, Brad's Twitch. Good morning, everybody. We are covering all the bases this morning. The only thing we're not on is Snapchat. So say hey, we'd love to hear from you. All right, we are live on my LinkedIn too, so that's good news. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. I'm back. Your boy is back. And I'm going to be back to really regular scheduled programming at this point. So last week was at South by, then Raleigh. And so came back yesterday from Raleigh. I'm back. And I'll be back to normally scheduled programming until I leave for the beach in a month. So very excited to be here. Excited to hang out with Brad. Excited to be live. Just excited. I'm excited. I'm a little sleepy though. Didn't sleep that great last night, but a little sleepy. Brad, good morning. How are you?
Morning, man. I feel you on the little bit sleepy situation. Extra big ass cup of coffee today.
Yeah. I'm a little gassed this morning, but it'll be good. It'll be good for again for those of you saying hey. Would love to hear from you. Say hey. The reason why I tell people say hey is I realize it's kind of a networking platform. So basically, like, show up, ask some questions, network with people in the DMs with your PJs on, and for 30 minutes, and you're back on the rest of your day. So, but we're not in the metaverse yet. We don't have our Apple Vision Pro goggles on. So there's no way if I know you're watching or not. There's no other way if people are. So people can't tell if you're watching unless you comment. And so what I would do if I were you, and again, this is the reason why I started kind of this thing, and kind of my mission is to create this little bit of an ecosystem that allows people to network easier, right? So, you know, if I were you, I would show up every single morning on my live show, say hey, network with people in the DMs, head on over to Unicorn Founders whenever I go live there, network with the founders I have on. And like, if you do that consistently for like, I don't know, for the last 3 years I've been doing this, then you'll be in pretty good shape. So that's my goal. So, but don't lurk this morning. Also, I've been off for about a week. It'll be good to see you. But Colin, it's good to see you. Steven, it's good to see you as well. Got people trickling in. A few other things, a few housekeeping things. I want to give a shout out to my sponsors. First and foremost, that conference, again, Clark Sell. That's where I met Brad in Austin, but official coffee sponsor of the show. So go check them out. If you want a few bucks off your bag of beans, go check that out. The tickets are for sale for the Wisconsin event. I will not be there. I've been holding this. I haven't announced it yet until last week. We are having our second kid, is a baby boy, and we are having. My wife is due July 4th.
Yo, congrats, man. That's sick.
Right. Appreciate it. So baby boy coming along. So I will be off the road starting in July. But please go to that conference. It's a great time. Also want to give a shout out to Render ATL, the premier platinum, whatever gold sponsor you want to call it, for picking up the show again for the second year in a row. Appreciate you guys. I'm excited to have some upcoming speakers on the show coming up. But go check them out. It is a heck of a time. After coming back from South by, what Justin and the crew is building is very similar to South by. It is event. You can go network your butt off and meet some amazing folks down at Render ATL. Also, it's good to see you this morning, Devon. It's wonderful to see you. All right, so Brad, man, let's get the people just quick background about you. Who are you? What do you do? And let's talk about your puppy.
Yeah. Let's see. I've been doing web dev for like 15 years.
Okay.
Previously Adobe, currently at Atlassian, also currently looking for a new job, and
Yeah.
the search is going pretty good.
Good.
Really into front end stuff, and like being online, like talking to other developers.
Yeah.
Do a little podcasting, compressed FM, and got my own YouTube channel.
There
Yeah.
you go. I love it. And you just got a dog, right? So let's get the people what they want. Like,
Dude,
what type of dog? Is
tiny.
it, tiny?
It's an 8-week-old petite golden doodle. So it's like a little red fluff ball, and she alternates between like having a ton of energy and then sleeping. And she bites everything, and we're still trying to like rein her in.
Do you have a name? Do you have a name for her?
Yeah. We're going with Charlie. We wanted something with a little bit of like a country feel. So Charlie is the girl's name. Yeah.
I love it. Fantastic. And you're outside of Austin, right?
Yeah, just north of Austin, a little town called Pflugerville. It's actually spelled with a PF in front, so it's like a hysterical pun all over town. Yeah,
that would confuse the heck out of me. All right, I got to ask you, after just going to South by, what's like your favorite spot to go to in town? Like if you're gonna go into town to eat, What is it? Like, where do you
Oh,
go? And
um,
there's so many good spots in Austin, right? So,
look, let's be real. Like my wife and I don't get out to go eat a lot, but I will say this:
okay.
there's a place called Suerte on the east side. It's a Mexican place,
Yeah.
kind of
How do I know
fancy,
that?
kind of upscale. It's right by the Atlassian office.
Okay.
Amazing, like
Really?
super
Legit?
great food, and then like I feel like the waiters and waitresses there were awesome. They like helped you through the menu. They were like,
Okay.
"How about we just get this, a little bit of everything for the table and all that,"
I
and
love it.
like you
Suerte.
left full, and it was really really good.
I love that. Fantastic. I'm gonna go check that out next time I'm in Austin. All right, Brad. Well, let's get into it, man. Lots to talk about today. Want to dive into your job search. You know, I I love watching people online, and that sounds really creepy, but basically, like when someone says I'm laid off, I immediately become like their biggest fan, right?
Yeah,
Because I'm like,
yeah.
go. It's like, anytime somebody gets this job, anytime someone gets a job in this market, I always say it's like an angel gets his wings. And so I root people on tremendously. And I saw obviously, where you started your job search, man. Let's start from when you kind of found out. How did you feel? What went through your mind? Did you see it coming? Was it surprising? Give me your thoughts on that.
It's really interesting because it wasn't a layoff, right?
It wasn't a
This was
layoff. Okay.
this was
Okay.
essentially just like a line in the sand where it's like I had been looking for this promotion, working closely with a manager to get this done, working. Everything looked like it was going to go through, and then the rug got pulled out from under me. And I had already spent, 2.5, 3 years at Atlassian, and
Sure.
still currently there, but also like obviously out there looking. And I was like, okay, I either have to be able to move up or move out, right?
Sure.
I'm operating at the next level. I need to
Sure.
go find an opportunity to do that, whether it's internal or whether it's external.
Hmm.
Internal wasn't doing it for me. So, uh, started the job search, and like oddly enough, got reached out to by Docker. Like that was kind of the magical opportunity that just showed up. They sent me a message. They're like, "We're looking for."
Where did they
Uh,
send you a message on? I'm curious.
so they found me on LinkedIn
Okay.
and then emailed me.
Did they make any comments about any content you were putting out at all, or did they just kind of cold message you?
No, it was a cold message, and it was pretty
Okay.
much just like we found the keyword that we were looking for in your LinkedIn profile, and I was like,
Interesting. Okay.
okay, okay.
Talk about did you optimize your LinkedIn before the search? Did you take time? Like, I mean, that's obviously a very important piece of information. So I'm kind of curious, did you do that on purpose or is it kind of just random?
Yeah, so like I have a reminder for myself every 6 months. I update my resume, my
Oh, do you
LinkedIn,
really?
like go on an interview just to kind of stay super fresh.
Sure.
And so like I've been super into Remix, this front end framework, and that was in I think it's in the headline of my LinkedIn, and that's how they must have found it. Um, but no, like at that time, that was almost before I started like revamping all of my stuff. And
Yeah.
so it was just pure coincidence almost that they reached out exactly when they did and how they did. Now,
That's
granted,
crazy.
like
It's
the
all about
first thing that
timing.
I did when I started the search was like, okay, I updated my resume and I put out a tweet that was like, "Hey, I'm actively looking now." And then I asked a bunch of friends for resume feedback. I sent it to you. I sent it to
Yeah.
James Quick and Brian Morrison in the chat.
Yeah.
They were all helping me out to get it concise because I had a lot of experience. 15
Yeah.
years, a couple
I know. Your
companies.
resume looks great.
Yeah, so I had to try to make it a little bit more concise, which I thought was challenging.
Yeah. And again, Thomas, good to see you. James, my guy, it's wonderful to see you. Brian, I tell you what, I want to get Brian. Brian, I want to get you back on the
Dude,
pod. I think
Brian had a
Brian had
wild
the
ride.
I
Yeah,
think Brian had the fastest.
he won.
You won.
Yeah.
Like you won the internet for 2024 when it comes to the fastest job search. What was that? A week? Maybe?
Must have been a
Maybe?
week.
It was
Yeah,
nuts.
the
So
the
Brian,
dudes at Clerk are great too, and like
they are.
I'm buddies with James Perkins, so is
Yeah.
Brian, and like yeah, they're great for the community, great product, and man, they're really in tune with what's going on.
30
30
hours.
hours.
30 hours. That is some bullshit. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. That is wild, Brian. Congratulations, buddy. And again, I want to celebrate people on the show. And so, Brian, man, I mean, that's That's awesome. That's awesome. Steven's a fellow recruiter. Hilarious. You showed up in a Boolean search. Might steal that one. Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Eric, it's good to see you. Lay off the job offer in 2 weeks for me. Yep. And that's huge. That's huge. 30 hours. Yeah. I mean, again, because I definitely want to talk to Brian about, but this is Brad's show. So Brad, let's get back to you. So let's talk. So updated. Let me ask you this, man, mentally, right? Because like my last position, I was pretty much done the last 3 years, right? And I was trying to just kind of push through. Where was your head at, man, the last year? I mean, did you see the writing on the wall? Did you have a gut instinct? Because I like to talk about kind of like the non-tangible stuff in the job
Sure.
search.
It's really interesting. I felt as an individual, I was over delivering. I was blasting through features, building applications, leading projects, contributing templates to the wider company. I thought it couldn't have been a more straightforward case for myself. I thought people were looking at me saying, Brad's doing great, Brad deserves this, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
You never know what management thinks at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And moreover, it's not even just your manager. My manager was even saying, yo, this is most likely going to go through. Like, I can't say with 100% certainty, but this is most likely going to go through. But
So even
when,
your direct manager was like,
yeah,
"Yo, you're vibing."
yeah, he's like, look, I'm not going to send this if I don't think you've got a chance. I think you've
Sure.
got a great chance. But you never know what happens when you get in those deliberation rooms when every manager has to fight for their people. There may be limited budget, there may be limited resources, there may be other people who are outperforming you in some way, shape, or form. Uh, or maybe your manager doesn't have as much pull as the others. At the end of the
Sure.
day, you just don't know what's going to happen. So it was weird. I thought I had an incredibly strong case. Most
Right.
everybody else did as well.
Right.
But right before I walked into that meeting that my manager scheduled, which was like promotion outcome, I told my wife, I was like,
Something doesn't feel right.
I don't have a good feeling about this. I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
why. I
Isn't
don't
it
have a good feeling
crazy?
about it.
Isn't it
Yeah.
crazy when you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So really, like, I felt like I was doing really well and my head was in the game. And so when I got the news, I wasn't like defeatist. I wasn't, anything like that. I was mostly just like, okay, it's time to get to work in a different way. Right.
Right.
I was putting all my energy and focus into being a great employee for Atlassian. And now somehow I got to maintain that and then also put a bunch of energy and focus into finding that opportunity that I need for myself. Right.
Yeah. So, all right. So then you got. Well, you're in a different situation, right? Because you also have
Yeah.
a job,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
definitely in a really good situation. So you got your resume. You got your resume updated. You got your LinkedIn updated. And have you been like, how do you navigate both, right? How do you navigate having a job and the job search, knowing that it is time to move on? Like,
Yeah, it's hard. You like in a sense you need to continue delivering what you've been delivering. Um
yeah, right. Because the last thing you need to do is burn the house down while you're still there.
exactly. Yeah. But you know, late nights, right? At the end of the day, it's late nights and it's doing extra. And so yeah, you just have to push through and do it. It's
Yeah.
tough.
Do you have any sort of tips or tricks on how to block and tackle your day or your night when it comes to the job search? Like, what's worked well to you? Again, I like to talk about kind of the secret sauce of everybody because I think people need to hear more about secret sauces, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, what's worked well for you?
Yeah, here's my take. First thing in the morning, knock out as much like personal job stuff, personal stuff as you can, like
Okay,
updating your resume, applying
sure.
to jobs, those things. If you're on early like me, I've got children, you drop them off at school, you sit down, you can handle that extra stuff right there at the beginning. People aren't going to be online, people are going to be looking for you, they're not going to be sending you messages. Then in the middle of the day, be present for your team, right? Talk on Slack, do your job, contribute. And then at the end of the day, just you have to burn the midnight oil a little bit, put in extra time in the evening to
Yeah,
wrap up what you need to wrap up. The other part is, interviews. If you schedule a bunch of
yeah,
interviews, it is tough. It
yeah.
is tough. Yeah. Don't know what to say
Talk,
there. You gotta do it.
talk about what's so. I know Docker kind of randomly reached out to you because of your information. Is there any other tactic that seemed to be working better than others? Like, is there like if you were to go back through a job search again, What worked, what didn't?
Yeah. Man, what started working this time is I think I finally have a network big enough to help. Not nobody will reach out and say, here's a job. You said you
Sure.
needed
No,
one.
I mean,
Here it
no one's
is.
doing that these days. No one's doing that.
But what's gonna happen is that like people will amplify that you're looking.
Mhm.
People who are already interviewing will tell the people they're interviewing with about you. I had a buddy who's been out interviewing. He was sitting in a room with a senior vice president at Cloudflare, and he's like, "Oh, you're building this new team. You probably need some developer relations type folks. There's this dude Brad Garropy I used to work with at Adobe who like would do really well at that. And so next thing you know, like seeds are getting planted,
Yeah.
and then I can walk into a Cloudflare interview and be like, "Hey, you may have heard about me from this guy.
Right.
Happy to talk about this."
Yeah.
So it's
To
about
have
like getting introduced, and I think
yes.
that is something that like lowers the level of risk or
Yep.
tension.
Yep.
Instead of me just being a random resume on the internet, people are like, somebody said he was good, so you're already 1,000% ahead.
Right. Now, but like you're not just waiting for people to make introductions. Are you like shaking the tree? Are you messaging people on Twitter like, "Hey, bro, was moving on? What do you got? Keep me in mind," type of thing?
100%. I reached out to a couple folks at companies that I think would be really cool to work for.
Sure.
Whether or not they worked out, it's no worries. It's just
Sure.
like the more people kind of know that you're looking, and the more people who they can just keep their ear to the ground, like, oh,
Yeah.
there's a position open, and Brad told me he was looking.
Yep. James, have you heard about me? I'm kind of a big deal. Also, you are correct. The secret sauce tip is paprika. I've learned that with a little bit of lemon and mayo. Here's the party. Yes, Brian, it's good to see you. Yeah, I mean, well, so let me ask you this, Brad. You said you finally feel like now you have the network, right? So I met you at that conference last year in Austin. So I've known you
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
over a year now. I've
yeah.
watched you. I would say, just as a casual observer, I would say I've seen there's an uptick on, because I've only been following you for a year or so,
Right.
but I feel like I've seen you a little bit more lately.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, again, building in public, podcasting, getting involved online, do you think that helped? I know that I'm kind of teeing you up for this answer, but
100%. It's funny.
somebody
Like
watch, somebody listen to this in the future and be like, duh.
yeah, my individual output has slowed down. Like meaning my YouTube channel has slowed down. I'm not recording videos or streaming right now,
Sure.
although it's coming. It's coming. But I am doing a lot more collaborative work. Um,
Mm,
I've worked with Cloudinary. I'm obviously now a host on Compressed FM.
yep.
And so you're just also associated with certain people and companies that just brings recognition and viewers at the end of the day, right? It's easier to do it together than it is alone.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Is there so let's talk about the so I know you said you wanted to bring up some negotiation stuff, right? So you and I kind of talked backstage. I guess what are your thoughts on negotiation? How are you feeling? All that stuff.
I feel like I've never had to do it because typically the offers that are put in front of me is the right amount for the right time. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I'm like, I was looking for the next step. I applied for the next step. You offered me the next step. I'm happy with it. You know, this one's a little different, let's say, and nothing is set in stone right now.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, definitely don't
Um,
want to jinx you by any means.
yeah, yeah. So, you know, I've always wanted to work for a smaller company, and this Docker opportunity is a really good one. But uh, it's risky. It's
Yeah.
risky at the end of the
Yeah.
day. And I'm just, never had to navigate these waters of like, okay, RSUs aren't really a thing. Um, how do we sweeten the deal, or how do we feel stable with a wife and two kids and a puppy
Sure.
now, um, with the base salary that's offered if those RSUs never come to fruition.
Sure.
But
I
yeah,
think
I've never had to negotiate before.
you've never had to negotiate.
I just the numbers that have been put in front of me are
They've been great.
they're what I'm looking for. So
I think my thing, and again, I was going to put some content around this today, but I'm going to do it tomorrow around negotiation. I'll just use our conversation as a kind of the reference point. I think with the negotiations is that people come to the table and they don't have all their ducks in the order, right? They're like, "Hey, I need 15,000 more," and either how big the company is, whether it's the manager or HR goes, well, okay, well, why?
Why? Yeah.
And somebody goes,
Yeah,
well, just because,
you gotta be ready
right?
for the follow-up question,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So like
There's gotta be a
that's the big
reason.
thing, right? Like, so when I left my last company, I had a so one thing that I did with my job search, and I need to post about it a little bit more. Following Chan's journey on Twitter is one of my favorite things. He's doing a fantastic job as well.
Yeah,
He's actually coming on the show in 2 weeks. I'm super excited about. So, but one thing I did is that I created a PDF doc. I created a PDF of uh, basically my compensation overview, right? So
sure.
like where I was the last 5 years from a base salary, management bonus, because I was commission. There's a lot of moving parts, right? Some equity stuff like that. And what I would do is the first round interview, we never really got to compensation, right? Because the way I talk, and I was talking to them, I don't know if you've noticed this, but when you interview with people that you kind of don't really get into the job as much. Have you noticed
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
like, so where everywhere I interviewed was with friends or acquaintances, and so we never get to salary really early, and I didn't want to waste anybody's time. So I was like, hey, listen, after the first round, I was like, we didn't get to salary today, but here's my compensation details, my history, and
yeah,
that really helped frame up of where I needed to be and where I needed to go from a compensation perspective.
yeah,
But the big thing is like I specifically said, hey, I'm leaving this much of manager bonus. I'm leaving this much equity. I am leaving. And like I kind of went through these steps, and that allowed my argument, aka just my negotiation, a little bit more validity, I guess you could say.
yeah, like, the goal isn't to, like, suck as much money out of the company as you can. It's
Sure.
gonna be a mutually beneficial relationship to be
Yes.
compensated well and to be happy about it, and so, yeah, you're like, "This is my career trajectory, my salary trajectory. Um, this is where I'd like to take the next step at." It's not
Yeah.
just a tactic to, like, get more money, it's like everybody's trying to grow their, career and their wealth and
Sure.
everything together,
Yeah.
so
And also, let's just face it, everything's freaking expensive right now.
dude, you were just in Austin. Did you feel a squeeze there? Like, everything is
Well, I
expensive.
mean, yeah, I mean, granted, I was there for work,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's expensive. Like Veracruz tacos for 3 tacos and a little
Yeah.
agua fresco was like $35. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
Dude, yeah. My wife and I went out for, like, bagels the other day. Got,
Yeah.
like, 2 bagel sandwiches and a coffee. It was, like, $40. I'm like,
Yeah.
"What is happening?"
What is yeah, I'm gonna stay inside and be a hermit.
Yeah.
Brian comes in here, Mr. 30 hours. Brian, that's gonna be your nickname now, 30 hours. One thing that's helped me negotiate in the past is getting on the same page with the amount. When they ask, what are you looking for? Follow up, well, what's your budget? Yeah, I mean, listen, I could kind of poke holes in this, be like, this is kind of the whole like
It's a
Spider-Man meme where
Spider-Man
it's
meme.
like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, for me, everybody commenting on the price of the tacos. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. We'll get that. Taylor's eating good. Don't worry. $40 for 3 tacos and an agua fresca, by the way. Mayo is like $6 a jar. I don't want to get started on that. Thomas, yeah, absolutely. Bro, tacos. Okay, all right, we're off the rails. But for this, I'd also don't mind this as well. I would also really listen. I don't know if you've done this too in your interviews at all about the pain points and what you can bring to the table and using that to potentially bring up in the negotiation.
This is why this DACA role was, like, made for me. Like, "Hey, Brad, we're starting up a new UI. We need somebody to kinda, like, lead this, provide some architecture input, who's really experienced with Remix because this is the tool set that we're working on." And I'm like, "Oh my god, that's my favorite thing to do. I've done it
Right.
at the past 2 companies that I worked at multiple times." Like, yes, and let me tell you all the connections I have with the Remix team. Let me tell you about this podcast I just did with Kent C. Dodds, formerly of Remix. Let me tell you about this other podcast I'm about to
Right.
do with Brooks Librand's coming up from the Remix team. Like, and then you just get excited about it, and hopefully they feel that, and they're like, yes, this guy is what we're looking for.
Yep.
Let's secure him, right? Like,
Right.
hopefully it feels that way.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sir, sir, have you seen the price of tacos? And he lost 10% just to my, yeah, 100%.
Okay, I'm gonna use that 100%.
Yeah,
Tacos are
100%.
too expensive in
Yeah,
Austin.
tacos are too expensive, need more money. Yeah, I mean, I think negotiation too, and here's the deal. You also have to realize that when a company gets and I'm not using this as leverage. I'm not like using this as like a leverage at the company, but at the end of the day, if you get to the final round of your negotiation stage, the company wants you and wants to make this work as much as you want to make this work.
And you need to be upfront about that. Hey,
Yeah,
this isn't like a conditional on price thing. This is the job for me. I'm saying yes. Let's just figure out this detail. And I
I
think
love that. I
that's
love
the
that.
way
Like,
you approach it so that everybody's
yeah,
calm. Nobody thinks, you're just looking for the highest number out there. They know you're committed. They know you want to make it work and they want to make it work. Just settle at that
yeah,
point.
tell the company, like, when you start getting negotiations, listen, I want you to know, like, I want to be here because I think a lot of times during negotiation, I think, and rightfully so, I think there's this kind of this mindset of like, oh, this person's just trying to finagle me out of more money.
Right, right.
And it's like,
You
no,
can't come
no,
across like
no.
that.
Yeah, I really truly want to be here. It's just, hey, we need to align on these few things, and also too, like, know really what your worth is, right? And I talk about this all the time. Like, when I say know your worth, like, not just what your current salary is, like how many PTO days do you have, like, do you have an HSA? Does my last company had an HSA and they
Right,
contributed to the HSA? My current
right.
company did not, right? So like, you have to kind of you have to kind of really be aware of all this stuff.
Too often you get past all the technical stuff and then it's like the very end and they're like, "Okay, so here's your offer." And it's like, "Hold on, we haven't talked about benefits. We haven't talked about all the insurance stuff, all the things that me and my family need
Yes.
to be successful outside of salary, right? Like these have to tick all the boxes as well." So like I actually like to ask for dedicated HR meetings so I can just review that kind of stuff as well. And it's so hard. Like you feel like you're almost being an inconvenience because scheduling is hard and hiring is hard and taking people's time is tough, but you have to have that information before you walk
Yeah.
into a job.
Yeah, absolutely. Love what Steven said here. Always focus on the
Yeah.
entire package, not just salary, like a benefit, salary, work flexibility, work life balance. Yeah, there's just a lot that goes into it these days. Um, for sure. Another thing too, I had a thought and I just forgot because I went to Steven's comment. Dadgummit. All right, what did you say again? What were you talking about? Shoot, it was
D
good too. What were you talking about?
I was talking about
I just
I
totally
don't
blanked on it.
Steven's
No,
comment
being
was
an
spot on.
inconvenience, being HR, inconvenience.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So all that being said, ask for benefits early. So here's the deal.
Mm,
Companies, like, they're weird about benefits, right? Like, and the companies, like, a lot of companies don't want recruiters to have access to their benefits because they don't want people out, which I don't understand. I don't quite understand, but like, they don't want their benefits out in the public. I'm like, does it really matter? But anyways, maybe somebody in HR can justify why they don't want their benefits out in the public, but at the end of the day, no one's sharing it. And so for me,
they use benefits like, SaaS products use features. They do, like, the bento box, and they're like, flexible work-life balance,
right.
insurance, but, like, they give no details, and so that's what you
So
need to see.
ask for the detailed job description. Also, another thing with negotiation, I'm glad you brought this up, Brad, just negotiation topic in general. I would literally say, like, hey, like, this is what I want. When you get into the job search and they ask you your salary, be like, these are my salary requirements pending benefits. Because I can't
That's really good.
go ahead, go ahead.
I actually, on my Hire Me page, I kinda, like, put, like, a wish list of, like, the perfect job for me, right? What I didn't really put in there is the benefit information or the salary information. At the end of the day, salary is negotiable, but a lot of benefits are not at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think I should probably update that and be like, these are the benefits I'm used to at least. Skimping on any of these will make me feel squeezed in one way or
Yep.
the other.
Yep, absolutely. Steven comes here, dude. I just typed up a post of my thoughts about
Yeah,
showing benefits from the jump. Yeah, and again, like because I've gotten people through it. I'll never forget my last company. It was near the tail end. It wasn't my candidate. It was another recruiter's candidate, but they submitted the candidate at X rate. And then when they got the benefits were so bad the candidate wanted $25,000 more, and it torpedoed the entire conversation.
right, right.
So
And it seems unfair to ask for that
correct,
much
yeah,
money. Like you should have
yes,
just realized we're not aligned here at the beginning.
correct.
Not that
Which
it
is
wasn't
why
the job seeker's
in
fault.
my opinion, I think you should have this little PDF doc about outlining all of your benefits and sharing it with a recruit. Well, I would share it honestly, like, I would create a little portfolio for yourself, right? So I'd have
Yeah,
like your resume, your
yeah,
LinkedIn profile, your um, uh,
Benefits expectations.
benefit
I don't know, like
expectations, salary history, right?
uh-huh, uh-huh.
And so that way, when you talk to a recruiter, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Recruiter, go here. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Hiring Manager, go here. And so
Right.
that way they can view it, because here's the deal, man. It, like, at the end of the day, when you talk to somebody about salary, everyone's eyes glazes over. Your eyes glaze over, their eyes glaze over. It's an awkward thing to talk about, and people just lose their minds. It's very weird. So I have found that if I can just send that to people so they can review on their own time, the
Yeah,
conversation on the back end is much easier. Um, yeah, benefits at a glance page is worthless. Yeah, 100%. Really
yeah,
ask the recruiter, ask the hiring manager, ask the HR person for a detailed benefits overview.
yeah. And that's the
Um,
thing. You talk to recruiter first,
yep,
then a bunch of engineers, then maybe a hiring manager. Where's this HR representative, right? You need that somewhere in there, and that typically
correct.
just doesn't happen.
Yeah, or it happens at the very end, then it gets really messy because it's a lot of back and forth, and
Yeah.
yeah, it just kind of goes to shit.
Yeah,
So
because you just wanna close at that point. Everybody's
correct. You're
interested,
just you're
everybody
so
said
ready. It's like
yes.
closing a car.
Right.
So yeah, love that. All right. Brett, any last thoughts, words of wisdom before I give you some rapid fire questions?
Yeah, I'm gonna steal something from Brian.
Do it.
I'll just say that. What did I think he says the other day, "Your network is your net worth."
Yeah.
Uh, or just
Yep.
I don't know. Okay, you know what? I shouldn't steal from Brian. I'll give you something fresh. Um, go deep on a technology. Whatever you like, whatever you're really into, go deep on it and make that a theme. That just worked well for me. Maybe y'all should try it, right?
Yeah. I love it. I love it. This benefits conversation is so triggering. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, Steven comes it from like my side, and it's frustrating, man. It is so hard to wrangle HR. I don't know why it's such a thing. All right, Brad, as we wrap up here again, thank you for hanging out, man.
Yeah,
Time
thanks for having
flies
me.
when you're hanging out with friends. First question: if money was the same, what would you do outside of tech?
I really want like 10 acres somewhere,
Really?
just land. And then I wouldn't like farm on it or anything. It would just be my little project. You're always clearing trees, making paths, digging a pond, like
So
improving,
basically, you would
but
be a
just kind of
professional
living.
homesteader
Yeah, that'd be pretty
if
slick.
money was the same. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
And I'd still
Uh,
work remote. You know, that's the beauty of it. I'd still like would
sure.
love to like work with a great view, you know,
Yeah,
look out
100%.
off the back porch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%. Second question. Uh, what do you do for joy outside of work today?
A lot of puppy time right now.
A lot of puppy time. Yes.
Makes you pretty happy, when a little fluff ball just runs up and tackles you. I
Yep.
also love riding one wheels, so, like, I try to
Okay.
take, you know,
You
a
and Kim both.
15-minute one-wheel ride, yeah,
I love that.
and then
Also,
lift. I don't know, I still actually, less lifting now. I'm training for a half marathon, so I'm doing a lot of running now.
nice. I feel like everybody, I think I saw a TikTok where it's like everybody in their 30s goes into like marathon running. So,
Yeah, it does seem like that, doesn't it?
yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. After that, I'm going back to the gym. I'm like, I need to lift heavy stuff again.
Yeah. Same. Third question. What tools, technologies, trends, frameworks are you reading, tinkering with? That's kind of fun right now that you want to share.
Yeah, always, Remix as my front end framework right now, really, really, really loving it. It's going through an interesting growing phase right now where
Okay.
they're slowly gaining adoption on all the different hosting platforms. They're coming out with some really cool rendering modes, like a fully spa mode, a fully server-side rendered mode, etc. Um, and then I've just been building a lot more full stack applications. So it's like Remix, Prisma, Tailwind, Postgres. That's the stack, you know?
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Last question. We had guidance counselors in middle school, high school, and college, but now as adults, we don't have them. That's why this show is called Guidance Counselor 2.0. What would be your biggest piece of career advice to young Brad? If you could go back in time and tell young Brad something about his career, what would it be?
10 years at my first job was way too long.
10 years first. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Jump earlier.
Ah,
2 to 5 years is good. Do not stay more than 5.
that's fascinating. 'Cause I was
You're
at my
gonna
first job.
learn more.
Yeah.
You're gonna see your salary increase more. You're gonna see opportunities increase more, breadth of experience increase more.
Yeah. I think, and I want to dive in just a quick minute. Well, when you know,
Yeah.
And for me, I spent 3 years too long at my last company. In hindsight, getting out of it now, there is better stuff on the other end. And
It is true. It's true.
yeah,
Like a lot of times you worry about, is the grass greener? Be smart about your search, research who you're going to, and
yeah,
then the answer will be yes, the grass will
yeah,
be greener, you know?
yeah, yeah, 100%. Cool. All righty, y'all. Well, Brad, thank you again, my friend. I appreciate it. Stay on backstage so I can say bye to you. But again, thanks everybody tuning in today, this morning for Guidance Counselor 2.0. It's good to be back with the crew. All the comments. I appreciate you all. Tomorrow morning, no Guidance Counselor 2.0, but I'm going live with Francesco on Twitter, on his YouTube, actually. So I'll make a post about that. So y'all can just tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central. I'll be going live with Francesco on his YouTube page. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. But anyways, y'all have a good one, Brad. Thank you, my friend. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.
See y'all.